we're going to do a man-in-the-middle attack. We've already set up a NAT network in VirtualBox so that Kali Linux and Windows will be on a NAT network. They'll be on a separate network isolated from our local network. A man-in-the-middle attack works like this. Here I am. I'm sending my packets to the router, which then goes to the internet. Well, my computer can fake the address of the router, can fake the MAC address of the router. I can fake the MAC address of this guy. So if I fake these MAC addresses, when this guy thinks he's going to hear, he's going to hear, because there is no security in the MAC address world. And when this guy is sending information back, it's sending it back to me because I'm spoofing this to say, I am this computer. I'm spoofing this computer to say, I am the router. So I'm capturing the information passing from the computer to the router. Well, let's find out our IP address and the IP address of the other computer. So we need to know that. So let me clear my screen. Oops. All right. So IP space A. My NAT network is set up as 10.10.10. And my IP address is 4. Okay. I know my IP address. I also need to know the IP address of the router. So IP route show, well, it is 10.10.10.1. If you have a different IP address range, well, you'll just have to translate from my directions. Put in your IP address information. Now, let's find the victim. Sudo nmap -sn is a, and oh, there's the rest of it because I already did it earlier to test. So I'm going to scan the network with nmap. That's a command line utility that scans networks for computers and IP addresses and MAC addresses and brings back all kinds of information. -sn is a parameter that tells nmap to behave in a certain way, and then I'm designating the network. Remember when you set up your NAT network, you said 10.10.10.0/24 or whatever you put in this part. That's our isolated network. We press enter, and nmap works pretty fast, and there's not a lot of computers on our network. We know this is our router. We know this is us. With VirtualBox, this is the name of our router. It's a virtual network card. Here's the other computer with a virtual network card of the same type. Now these two are kind of fake virtual network cards. One of these, I believe, is the DHCP server. I don't know what the other one is, but it doesn't matter. This is our Windows machine. If you couldn't quite figure that out, you can go to the Windows computer, do ipconfig, and find it out. So now I know I have .5. Well, the next thing I need to do is turn my Linux machine into a router, which you can do. There it is. I set IP forwarding on. IP forwarding means that if a packet comes into my Linux machine, I can send it somewhere else. I can forward it, which is what a router does. It forwards packets from one place to another. So let's turn that on. We'll turn this off when we're done because it can make a mess. All right, we've got that. Now DSNIFF contains several utilities. We're going to use Arpspoof. Sudo apt install DSNIFF. And we already have it. All right, so no problemo. All right, so we're good. Now here's a little picture. Here we are. Here's the router. Here's the victim computer. Well, we want it to be like this. The router is going to think that we're the Windows victim. The Windows victim is going to think that we're the router, because we'll be spoofing our MAC address. We'll be telling the router, oh, I am the Windows victim computer. Send me your packets. We are going to be telling the Windows victim machine, oh, I am the router. Send me all your packets. Then we can capture and analyze those packets as much as we want. All right, so we need to set that up. We have our routing set up. We need to use the Arpspoof command 2 times. One for the router, one for the victim computer. So off the PDF, you can do paste it in here or type it in. If you want to be able to paste something into VirtualBox, go to Devices, Shared Clipboard, Bidirectional. You can right-click and paste, but notice Shift Insert is the shortcut. So Shift Insert, there it is. Now I have to change a couple of things. We want the router IP out here without the little greater than signs. 10.10.10.1. That's my router. Here's the victim IP, which is going to be 10.10.10.5. Right? That's who I'm. And now here, network interface name. We saw that earlier, ETH0. With Linux on VirtualBox, the network card's always going to be an ETH0, the first one. That's for an Ethernet card. Even if your laptop computer is a laptop or it has wireless, it doesn't matter. Remember, we're using a virtual computer. We don't care what the hardware is. VirtualBox is always going to see a network adapter. Now, there we go. We're saying to the victim computer, the router is at my MAC address. Well, now we have to do this again for the other direction. So we start up another terminal. And we need the same command again, except this time we're going to reverse it. We're going to put the victim IP out here and the router IP right here. So we need to spoof the other direction. We need to tell the victim computer that we're the router. We've already told the router that we're the victim computer. Now we need to tell the other one. So 10.10.10.1, and we'll replace this with the same thing because we're using our network interface card in effect as a router, ETH0, and we turn that on. And we need our password. There. So now we're saying, oh, the router, this guy is asking, where's my router? Where's my router? And we're saying, I am your router. I am your router. And this guy is saying, now, did I do that wrong? Oh, I'm in the same one, aren't I? There we are. We're telling this guy that we're the router. We're telling this guy, the router, that we're 10.0.5. Now, we're in the middle. We need to generate some traffic. We're going to, before we generate some traffic, we need to be able to see something. So we're going to use something called URL snarf, which means we need another terminal window. There. So what's our network interface name? Yes, you are correct. It's ETH0. So now we are going to sniff all the packets coming in. And unfortunately, this doesn't decrypt anything. This is only going to get things on port 80. But fortunately, there's a website that a company has set up specifically for people practicing these kinds of things. And we'll use this on and off throughout our class. So I'm going to bring up Microsoft Edge. We're going to go to vulnweb.com. Vulnerablewebservers.com might be what you think of it as. Well, since we're going to port 80, notice it's not secure. There's very few websites anymore that are not running on HTTPS, which is port 443. Now, if we go back to Kali Linux, look at there, look at there, look at there. we're capturing all kinds of things. So for example, if we go here, I can't remember which one it is. Let's just hope it's this one. Nope, that's not the one. One of these you can log in and it'll capture the login. Let's try this one. I know one of them does. And well, the first one that I was in is the right one. So we're going to go to this guy, test ASP. We go up here to login, and I'm going to type in Bill and Bill, or whatever I'm going to type in. Press login. Now if we go back to Kali Linux, we should be able to look through here and find the password. I'm just not seeing it, but it's going to be in here someplace. We'd have to dump this as a text file and look through it because there's lots of stuff that has been going back and forth. Regardless, we're now in the middle. We've done exactly what we meant to do. We have captured the packets. When you want to stop a command line program and you don't know how to stop it, hold down the Control key and type C. That stopped that program. I'm going to close this out. I don't need this running anymore. Control C. See, I'm stopping it and it's cleaning up and getting rid of all this ARP stuff. And the same thing here. We want to make sure that nobody sees a trace that we were on the network. There. Everybody's done. Now, remember we did that IP forwarding earlier? We don't really need that anymore. We're going to cursor up. I'm in the wrong one. I'm in the wrong terminal. I need to get up and get the command again. The history for a terminal lasts only in that terminal, and if you change terminals, which I did, well, it's no longer there. IP forward equals 0. Our IP forwarding is now off. We have our normal Kali Linux machine. Everybody's happy. At the end of this tutorial is a summary of what we did. We enabled port forwarding. We ran our Arpspoof command. Notice one is for one way, one's for the other way. We did our URL snarf. We go to vulnweb.com. We saw the packets. And then we shut down all of our programs and disable the IP forwarding. Well, that's a lot of work. In Kali Linux, there's programs that'll do that automatically. Ooh, cool. We'll get there next week.